Several minutes of pitch darkness. What did you see in the streets then?
It was a very deep gray smoke. It in honesty looked like a bit of a nuclear winter, the type of thing you see in the movies with ash all over the ground, on top of cars, on police cars, on windows. I made my way into...
After that, several minutes of pitch darkness. What did you see in the streets then?
It was a very deep gray smoke. It in honesty looked like a bit of a nuclear winter, the type of thing you see in the movies with ash all over the ground, on top of cars, on police cars, on windows.
I think 9/11 was a big wake-up call for most people. I saw that, and immediately I knew there was something not right about it. But then you get the media blurb of, here's a video of Bin Laden saying that he did it in a cave, when it clearly wasn't Bin Laden in the video. But it did cover things up for a while. But I kept looking, and eventually I found videos that asked questions, and from then on I started digging deeper and deeper, and I found that the den of corruption it went as high as it can possibly go, right up to the top of Parliament and the Royals and all that. I started digging deeper and deeper into the whole money system, because I was aware of all the other stuff that was going on. At that time I wasn't fully aware of the monetary system. As I dug deeper, I found how corrupt the whole money system is. Then in 2009 I found getoutofdebtfree.org. And I just jumped on there, read through every post that was on there, and realised there was a lot of people asking questions, but not that many actually answering them. So I started digging into the financial side of things, and I found so much. It was unbelievable. The more I found, the more I posted, the more people started asking me questions, the more questions I got asked, the more I digged further and find out more and more, to the point where I became known as Ceylon from Get Out of Debt Free. I've been involved in several things. Probably the most recent and most well-known is the rooftop case, where the banks stole Tom Crawford's house.
Yeah, we're fine, we're on the roof.
When this first came out, there was a warrant back in 2012. However, this warrant had no seal, no signature. So Tom's been asking for the original warrant right from the word go. When they came to repossess his house, and there was about 400 people turned up to say no, we wanted to see the warrant. And Tom even said, show us the warrant, here's the keys. Couldn't produce it. The second time they came, which was January of last year, about 700 or 800 people turned up again. This time some bailiffs did turn up, no paperwork. And when they realised they were slightly outnumbered, there was about 6 or 7 of them, they went away. Then it brings us up to July of last year, where they unannounced turned up and basically smashed the back door in and threw them out onto the streets. There is video out there where Tom asks to see the warrant, and the guy who's purporting to be a bailiff, the head bailiff, as soon as Tom says your name needs to be on that, you do know that, because under their own rules the head bailiff's name has to be on the warrant. And as soon as he asks for that, the guy turns around and walks away.
Guy!
Come on, show us the paperwork. This gives you any power. If you've got it, you show it, and you know you haven't got it. So you're all acting illegally, as well as unlawfully, but that goes without saying.
So this prompted us to, on the 24th of July, climb onto the roof and get back into the house. And again, the first thing we asked for was to see the warrant. Me and 3 others were on the roof for 2 days. The other 3 came down after the first day, when they tried to kill us by smashing steel rods through the roof that we were on. And they were coming a good 2 feet into the room, where if we'd have been sat there or laying there, would have been dead.
Hey!
They're pulling the roof down.
What the thing's going on, man?
Huh?
You need to calm down. Look, there's people in here, there's a pregnant
They're on the
woman in
roof
here.
trying to smash through the top as well, by the sounds of it.
Away. You are? Right, nicely, is this nicely? He doesn't seem very nice.
They're coming through the roof. They smashed the roof out in, I'd say, the living room. They're trying to come through.
What was that? Jesus Christ!
Someone's gonna die if you don't fucking put this roof in!
That's why the first 3 went down, and that's why us 3, the other 3 remaining ones, went up onto the roof, because we feared for our lives. You know, you've got police trying to kill you. But all the while, we're asking to see the warrant they used to evict Tom and Sue and Nicole. They couldn't produce it. When it first happened, the cops were there, yeah, we'll get it, he's on the phone, yeah, can you send us a copy of the warrant? You know, and he said, it's coming, no problem. And as the hours drifted by, you could see him starting to realise himself the warrant wasn't going to arrive because it doesn't exist. The warrant they claim they used to evict Tom and Sue was the stay was lifted in May of last year. Now the stay was lifted on the 2012 warrant, which by itself wasn't lawful, the actual warrant. However, a warrant lasts 1 day short of a year, and then it has to be renewed. The warrant was never renewed, so the stay was lifted on a warrant that, even if it had been legit, was now out of time. Eventually we come down off the roof, and the court case comes to pass January of this year, 6 months later. The first thing we asked for was to see the warrant. Now the judge says there's a copy of the warrant, that's the copy of the 2012 warrant, the one that's now null and void anyway. We kept banging on at every chance we could, we want to see the warrant. Eventually, after 6 days of the trial, the judge realises we're not going to let it go, we want to see the original warrant. The judge then orders the CPS to bring, the very next day, into court the original paperwork, the original warrant. The next day comes along and the CPS go, we're offering no evidence. We've just sat through a week of their evidence, ripping them to pieces, proving their witnesses to be liars, and they offer no evidence. And of course, by doing that, they don't have to show the warrant, which doesn't exist. So, nearly 2 years gone now, they've not been able to produce a warrant that they used to throw a family onto the streets. And with the backing of 150 or so police, 21 riot vans, numerous police cars, an ambulance in case they damaged anyone while they were throwing people onto the street. They arrested Tom for apparently, well, whatever made-up charge they could, which was later thrown out of court. He was found not guilty. Our case was found not guilty. So the evidence in that is that the warrant doesn't exist. The police and CPS, the courts are all in it together, and it's just not getting the fact that we got found not guilty at court. So I often say, did you see us on the news? And everyone is saying, well, I don't watch the news anymore. And this is fantastic because it means that propaganda is no longer working. And what they do is they actually go on the latest news on Good F, Get Out of Debt Free, it's referred to Good F, to find out what's really going on, as well as the internet. But when people come originally, they go on there and they've got their particular problems, whether it's with credit cards, debt collectors, banks, loans, whatever, and they go into the rest of the forum first, hopefully, for the credit card part, the bank part, the debt collector part, and they ask the questions, they tell them what their problem is and how it's gone on. And the beauty of it is that even if you don't know anything about what's going on, you can go in the forum, put what's happened to you, and someone will reply and give you the best way to deal with it. As I said, in the forum you can also get, well, not in the forum, but actually on the site you can download 3 template letters that we use. These letters have been used since 2009. They're based on Mary Elizabeth Croft's work, and it was John Witterick, my partner on the site, who actually put the letters together. Over the years I've been on there, I've adapted them, made them more power, a bit more teeth, and they still work. They still work to this day. Simply because we ask, you know, you say you're a bank, you're a building society, you're a debt collector, whatever, you say I owe you some money. Show me the contract signed that states I will pay you back some money that you say I've owned you, I borrowed off you. And of course they can never do it, because they don't use contracts. If they used a contract, they'd have to say, well, actually, what's happening? When you sign this agreement, your signature will actually be used to create the money that we're going to pretend to lend you, and then we want you to pay it back in full with interest. Now, if they said that to you, you'd go, wait, my signature is creating the money that you're pretending to lend me, but you're going to want me to pay it back? No, I don't think I like that. What I'll do is I'll give you £100, say 10 grand loan, I'll pay you £100 just to monetarise my signature for me. Now that's fair. They're getting something out of doing nothing still, and you're getting the money. So they never can produce a contract because, like I said, they would have to tell you where the money came from. So they use an agreement, because an agreement means that, well, you agree to pay me back this money, but you don't need to know where it come from. You don't need to know anything like that. And when they can't supply the documentation, that's just one part of the documentation we ask for. We ask for several bits and bobs. Over the time, we've learned that they need a novation agreement. It's actual term, probably along the lines of a delegation novation agreement. This is when they sell on your alleged debt to a debt collector. And a deed of assignment. Now, a deed of assignment needs to have certain parts to it, and when they sell it to a debt collector or whoever, this deed of assignment needs to go with it, and the portions of the deed of assignment need to be adhered to. I.e., the main point is that with the deed of assignment needs to be the original agreement. Now, you'd think, no problem, just bundle that in with the deed of assignment. A slight problem. Not only do they get you to pay the money back that you created, they also sell the agreement to other banks, because another bank might buy a whole bundle of them, 10 million for instance, all at once, knowing that they're going to get the original amount back plus the interest. So they're onto a winner. That's why the other banks buy them. But of course, because they've sold that agreement, they no longer have it. So this is where the corrupt government came in and introduced the act which said that they could use a reconstituted agreement, which basically means we'll just make up an agreement and say that's the agreement we gave you. Well, that's fraud. It's plain and simple. Just because the government say that we're going to allow the banks to commit fraud doesn't detract from the fact that it's still fraud. So we've asked for certain agreements. The novation agreement, the novation agreement is also an interesting one. A novation agreement is a tri-party agreement between the original alleged creditor, the debt collector, and you. So you've got to sign this agreement to say that you agree to them selling it on. I don't know anyone that's been asked to sign the novation agreement to say we can sell it on, but of course in their terms and conditions it will probably say we don't need to, but they do need to, otherwise it wouldn't be there. So there's two things they fall down on straight away. And they don't have the original agreement. Under the Bills of Exchange Act, once a debt collector buys your alleged debt, he's paid it off for you. Cheers! Now, unless he's got a contract with you that you signed saying that you will pay him back for the original amount, well, he's just paid it off, and he's not even agreed with you that you're going to pay it back. So he's paid the debt, and that's under the Bills of Exchange Act. Their own paperwork says they must pay it off, and once it's paid off, it is gone. So you don't owe anything. So when it gets sold to a debt collector, you should be going, yeah, it's done, it's gone. They'll still chase you for it, but then again, you can just use the letters. Now, the one thing that sometimes people trip up on is they say, well, it's been sold to a debt collector. What letters do I use? You use the debt collector letters. It's been sold to another bank. Well, once it's sold at any point, it's now the debt's gone. You use debt collector letters. If it's an original creditor, i.e. a bank, a credit card, a loan company, they're what are classed as the original creditor. So you use the bank letters to them. Anyone who's the original creditor, you use the bank letters because it's worded slightly different and we ask for slightly different things. But either way, in the 6 years now that I've been doing this, no one on the site has ever been provided with the information we ask for. That's because it doesn't exist, because the whole banking system is fraud.